When you watch motorcycle videos on YouTube, it can seem like motorcycle slang terms are an integral part of the biking community. And for me, I've only heard terms like these on YouTube and in podcasts. If you're new like me, you may have never heard of any of these terms, and maybe your understanding of them can make all the difference in feeling like you're part of the motorcycle community. Whether you're a seasoned rider or just starting out, these terms are woven into the fabric of the motorcycling culture. But add the language barrier to the mix, and it can be downright overwhelming. Imagine pulling up to a motorcycle meet or rally surrounded by riders tossing around terms like Farkle or Squid. And if you're not in the know, it can be like trying to decipher a foreign language. You might nod along, pretending to understand, but deep down you're wondering what on earth are they talking about? Let's explore some popular motorcycle slang terms and their meanings. Start with Farkle. That's a good one. It refers to customizing your bike with aftermarket parts, like adding a fancy exhaust pipe or upgrading your body panels with carbon fiber. Anything like that. Then there's Ape Hangers, which describes those super tall handlebars that make you look like a primate riding a bicycle. And who could forget lane splitting? It's when riders pass other vehicles by riding between lanes. It's a controversial topic to say the least. It's illegal in many places, yet legal in some. I came across a term that really stood out to me. Iron butt. It refers to a rider who can ride 1,000 miles in 24 hours. These riders are the marathon runners of the motorcycle world. There's even a website dedicated to the certification of riders meeting certain criteria to prove that they did it. But really caught my attention was squid, and I've done a previous video on this. There's all kinds of definitions for squid, but for me, what it really comes down to is the most common perception of any motorcycle riders have few skills, no training, and no common sense. They often wear little or no protective gear, and they ride extremely recklessly. An unusual sounding term, Petcock, is simply a fuel selector. My motorcycle has one, and actually has 3 settings: on, off, and reserve. It's vacuum operated, which allows me to leave it in the on position without worrying about flooding the carburetor with fuel when I turn the bike off. And if I run out of fuel, I can switch it to reserve and get to use the last remaining gas in the tank and hopefully make it to a gas station. Some Petcocks are not vacuum operated, which just means they need to be switched off when you turn the bike off or the carburetor will flood with gas. Modern fuel injection bikes don't have a Petcock. How about chicken strips? Chicken strips are what riders call the unworn sections on the outer edges of a motorcycle rear tire. Chicken strips really carry a pretty negative connotation since the name comes from the rider being perceived as too chicken to lean the bike over in turns. If the smooth rubber at the edge of the tire never touches the road, strips develop that look and feel different from the worn center tread. My motorcycle has chicken strips and may have them forever. Moving on to a term I've heard which refers to a passenger in a motorcycle is pillion. I thought it sounded French, but as it turns out it's Gaelic, meaning the seat behind the main seat, and originated from riding horses. I've often heard the term on YouTube referring to a passenger's pillion, which I don't think is correct. I've also heard this as riding 2 up or riding double. Why can't it be just having a passenger? What do you call it? And have you ever heard the term naked? It refers to a bike without fairings, though not all bikes without fairings are considered naked. Confusing? I agree. Naked bikes are not just a sport bike without fairings, but a bike with a specific design, such as a more comfortable upright seating position. A good example is the Yamaha MT-07. Now what about ADV? ADV simply means adventure, and it refers to adventure-style motorcycles. A good example is a BMW 1350 GS. For me, the simplest explanation is a motorcycle is designed primarily for on-road, but that can handle some gravel or dirt. There are many adventure and dual sport bikes out there, and trying to define what makes an adventure bike could be a video on its own. Now, moving on to Panniers or Panniers, they are side luggage for the rear of a motorcycle. Panniers is the same as a saddlebag, though sometimes motorcycle riders will refer to hard luggage as panniers and soft bags as saddlebags. I've got soft luggage, and I use the terms interchangeably. And then we've got slip-ons and clip-ons. What the heck are clip-ons and slip-ons? Clip-ons are handlebars that have brackets and clips that clip to the top of the forks individually. So in a sense, you've got two handlebars. You've got one on the right and you've got one on the left. That's the most basic way to explain it. They're usually for sport bikes that put the rider in a lower, more aggressive position. In the case of my motorcycle, I just have one handlebar that clips to the top of the forks. Now, what is a slip-on? Well, that's for the exhaust. So a very basic example is removing your muffler from the motorcycle and installing a new muffler simply by slipping it onto the exhaust pipes. And finally, we've got a center stand. So a center stand is unlike a side stand or kickstand that leans the motorcycle over the left when parked. A center stand has two legs, so when the center stand is engaged, the motorcycle is parked in an upright position, and it's usually in the center of the motorcycle. This makes all kinds of maintenance easier on the bike when you've got the center stand engaged. Oil changes, brake pads, or even being able to turn that rear wheel by hand aids in cleaning and oiling the chain so you don't have to push the bike around the garage. So, what are your favorite motorcycle slang terms? Please share them with me in the comments below, and if you got a suggestion for a future video, I'm all ears. Thanks for watching.